Cindy Moon, hi. How are you?
Hey, I'm well, thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's
Glad
so
to
good
be
to
here.
see you. I'm so excited. I saw your face and your name, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. I want to be wherever Cindy is. Gosh, things are filling up so fast. Hi, Joanna and Roberta. Brandon.
Hi, my name is Lenita. When I came on or tried to sign on, it said that it gave me an error message. So I was so happy that you guys popped up. It gave me an error message saying the meeting was yesterday.
Oh.
So you might have some people not here who you thought, more people who you thought would have been here, I guess, or however you say that. And so, yeah, just letting you guys know, I don't know what that was, but I'm glad that you guys popped up and I'm glad to be here.
Hey, Lenita, I'm so glad that you're here. Who are you with?
I'm with Oregon DHS.
Perfect.
I'm with Multnomah County District 2, and I'm their CPC, Community Partnership Coordinator.
Oh, I love it. Hey, were you on the last CPC quarterly?
Yes.
So you might have heard my presentation there when I was talking about business engagement, and you guys are the rock stars of business engagement for ODHS.
Yes, I do remember hearing from you guys. And so that's that, as well as I've seen a couple emails and I was like, oh, I got to figure this out and see what's going on and what we could do. And, it just sounds so cool and easy to do, as well as, another way to get those resources to people.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, no problem. Thanks.
Yes, indeed. Welcome, Nita and one and all. So we are just a few minutes away from getting started. There's a countdown on the screen share there. I'm Ron with the Best HQ team, and we hope you're in the right place, which is the CRN, PDX-CRN Community Resources Network Forum. And with this, we're going to be intentionally engaging. There's folks that are just coming in right now. We'll ask you to do a little setup here. We want you to meet other people. This is a community-focused event. And if you look in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you should have a view button that can allow you to go in speaker or gallery view. You can toggle between those. The gallery view will show the groups. We have a bit over 50 registered for today. And but also speaker view once we have a presentation that'll be coming. Also, I'll ask you to click on your picture, your image, and right click on it or click the three dots, the ellipse, and you can rename yourself. So what my screen name is showing, my Zoom screen name is showing, Ron brackets Best HQ. We encourage you to do the same. Put your name and your organization in brackets. Use the chat, drop information in there. We're going to be sharing. This is all about sharing. And oh, there you go. Got that camera on, Lenita. Woohoo. Thanks for sharing your face, your beautiful face, as well as others. We'll encourage others to do that. Who else do we have in the house that wants to say hey and let us know who they are and maybe what they do?
Hey, Janet.
Hi.
So glad you're here. Could you tell everybody what you do? It's pretty powerful.
Oh man, nothing like calling me out.
Oh my gosh. Consider this begging.
Well, I work for Quest Center for Integrative Health, and we do work with our founding premise was working with folks with HIV and AIDS back in the day and before, when it used to be pretty much a fatal diagnosis. And we continue to work very heavily with the LGBTQ plus communities. And we also now have a pain management, non-opioid based pain management program, which is called WISH, specifically with our Care Oregon contract. It's exclusive to them, and we've just signed a contract with MODA. So now we have a MODA contract too, non-opioid based. So that's the key there. And we have an alcohol and drug program. We have a mental health program. We have the first, in partnering with Bridges to Change, we're running the first non-binary LGBTQ plus transition house in the state of Oregon. So that opened a year before the pandemic, 2 years ago now. So that's kind of it. And there was a lot going on, but that's it in a nutshell.
I know, right? All like all the things.
A lot of things.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I'm so glad that you're here and able to connect with other partners.
I'm
And
glad to be here. Thanks for letting me know about this resource.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, quick question. Ron, I'm looking for the 3 dots. I don't see them. I'm sorry.
Just put your cursor over yourself on the screen.
Oh,
Hover
okay,
over
there we go.
yourself, then you get them dots. Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's your Zoom pro tip for the day.
I appreciate it. I'm
That way
still
we can put,
learning.
there you go.
And there's a
Got
couple
it.
other things. You can also resize the share that's happening right now, where it says requested items. You can make that smaller and see more people, or you can make it bigger and see less people. And if nobody is spotlighted, which we'll be doing in a few minutes, and when we do spotlight some folks in a few minutes, it will go to that one person. You can go back up to the top and change it to gallery so you can see everybody. But before it's spotlighted, you can move everybody around. You can move their photo to a different section. So it's kind of fun to play with that too.
Playing for a while.
So I see Elena, welcome with the miso. Great to have you in the house. Miso is in the virtual house. Oh, microphone's not working. Who else wants to say hi? Just unmute. This is a great time just to say hey, and we're going to get going in just a hot minute here. Under a minute.
I'll say hi. I'm Lynn
Yeah.
Deschler, and I'm a contractor with Clackamas County and have been for like 20 plus years. But I do community outreach, and I coordinate several connect meetings throughout the county where partners come together to share. And so when I saw that this was starting, I wanted to see, how we could link and connect, and if it was similar or different. And so that's why I'm here. And I'm also the administrator for the Homeless Solutions Coalition of Clackamas County.
That's awesome. Thank you. Contract. So private company. So we have other private companies in the house, as well as some agencies, nonprofits.
Yep.
Uh,
Faith-based organization here too.
Faith-based organization.
Everybody's here.
Yep. And make sure you put your contact information in chat so we have a way to reach you and connect with you as well. And then I work with the Bobby Lakes Hope Center, which is the repurposing of the Wapato jail from an empty building to a place. We've helped 200 people get reestablished since October. So super excited.
Outstanding.
So awesome.
Outstanding. I think we have critical mass. I think we're ready to start. Are we ready to start?
I'm totally ready.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my good friend, Miss Amy, and as in spotlight. So here she comes. Amy, spotlight for everyone. And I'm Ron, by the way. And Amy and I are excited to welcome you to the PDX-CRN Clackamas, but also it's working for all the counties. This is an exciting community-based movement forward. The word community is absolutely true and true through this. And thank you everyone for taking some time out of your busy day to really look at this equation of what we can do as community partners coming together in a very thoughtful, new, and exciting way to optimize our resources together to meet the unmet needs out there in community. So Amy, what is this PDX-CRN thing all about?
Well, really, Ron, this PDX-CRN thing is about connecting resources and connecting people who have resources and to people who need resources, allowing people to share their extra things. We had a request come through Eastern Oregon earlier this week where someone offered up a truck to an organization or an individual, and it's just really about sharing and connecting resources together on a collaborative online platform.
Very, very cool. So we have a pretty simple program today, and it'll start with a presentation in just a minute here. We have a very special guest, Brenda, with ODHS OHA, is going to talk to us a little more technically about with a formal presentation, not too long, just a way to sort of set up what Amy and I have attempted to verbalize here. After that, we'll have a few testimonials. We're going to go through and get some real life, real people coming up and talking about how it's impacted them, as this is not a new thing per se. It's actually been piloted twice down in Marion County and then also in Eastern Oregon. And then we're going to open it up. We'll have a little bit of a break about the bottom of the hour, a way to talk about some next steps, and then some Q&A to round out the hour. We're going to honor your time. We're going to make sure we're in and wrapped by 4 o'clock today. And we again, thank you for joining. A quick housekeeping item. Again, please do use the chat. Drop your information in there. We're in the listening and aggregating process right now. This will be repurposed out to community. You'll hear about those next steps, but this is use the chat and get ready for some question and answer time, as well as use the interface. If you haven't already, put it in speaker view, which is the upper right-hand corner of your screen, just below the X. Don't hit the X, below the X. You can click on view and drop into speaker view to allow an optimal viewing experience for this. Amy, are we ready?
We are. I just wanted to remind everybody that we are recording this session, and that oh shoot, I totally forgot.
Next week.
Yes, next week. We have another forum coming up next week on the 29th. So please share the link PDX-CRN.org with your coworkers, your networks. We'd love to have everyone there. It's a tri-county forum, so anyone and everyone is invited, and we'd love to have lots of people there.
Indeed. And then we see a new friend up here on Spotlight. Welcome, Brenda.
Welcome, Brenda. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Do you mind if I do a screen share?
So exciting to have you on here. Talk about a wonderful spirit and energy. Great to have you part of this champion, this movement, really this effort going forward that's all about community and what we can do when we act together. So without further ado, I think you have some slides for us.
I do. And I'm just going to ask people, like, bear with me. Those of you who know me on this call know that it's always a great gift if I can make the screen share work well. But I'm super excited to be here. I love sharing this information. Can you see my screen okay? Does that look all right?
Yes.
So again, my name is Brenda Pearson, and I'm with the Oregon Health Authority and the Oregon Department of Human Services in a little program called Business Partnerships. And this is not a government system. I just happen to be a huge fan and sponsor for implementation efforts for any community that would like to have the community resource network in their area. Usually people, when there's an implementation, people will hear from Tim Sinatra, and he is the visionary behind the community resource network. If he was here presenting, for those of you who don't know who Tim is, he is the current CEO for the YMCA in the Marion and Polk County areas, and he used to be Boys and Girls Club CEO and director at the state level in a couple of states and at the national level. So he will share oftentimes the story about how he has sat at so many tables over the years where folks come together at the community level and say, how do we get this need met, whatever it is, right, for a person who's in need? And it could be a person who's struggling with poverty, it could be a child, it could be an aging person, it could be like all the things, right? How do we get this need met? And you'll see these big community tables with really generous, loving hearts talking about, well, maybe we can meet that. Or maybe so-and-so can meet that. And kind of these referrals or word of mouth activity, which is definitely how we do business in Oregon, take place. But it creates sort of a disconnect, right? It's not that just in time service delivery that people wish they had. So he said, you know what, I think we can do something about this, and put together the concept of the Community Resource Network. And he met Wasi Khan, who is the system designer, who is here with us today. And Wasi said, you know, let me help you out with that, because I can help you build that system better and stronger than you can even imagine. And he did. So the Community Resource Network is an electronic platform that lets any member, so public sector, private sector, for-profit, nonprofit, faith-based organizations, does you name it, right? Philanthropist can become a member in the system, and it connects them, right, for community engagement. So we talk about it being a platform for community engagement that leverages and emphasizes and expands opportunities and aligns and coordinates sort of resources and solutions, if you will, right, across systems. So taking that private sector innovation, leveraging public sector resources, mobilizing existing supports and networks, and putting them into action in real time. And I'll show you some examples of that. They sound like really fluffy words, especially the first time I heard them, I thought they were kind of fluffy words, but I'm going to show you how it actually works in practical application in just a moment. So we're going to talk about connecting multi-sectors for all different types of solutions. It's a sort of a one system that other system providers that you may know of in your community could also be part of, right? So it's not replacing existing systems, it's leveraging them and linking them so that we're optimizing shared outcomes together at the community level, really increasing economic prosperity in communities and mitigating some disparities that happen. In our system, you'll be able to see in PDX-CRN, if a person has a need, there's no reference to age, race, ethnicity, any of those type of things when a request is made or answered. So it levels the playing field for everyone. It opens up access and creates opportunity for everyone, because you could literally be serving someone who ordinarily wouldn't know where to go to get plugged in, and certainly wouldn't want to talk to government or dominant cultures to get needs met. I tend to talk a little bit fast and I have a lot of information, but I'm going to pause every once in a while and ask you questions. And this is one of those times I'm going to pause. So you'll see these questions up on your screen, like what happens when a service need or a referral goes unanswered? Right? How many times do we hear that? Where a referral is made or a request is made, a business has a need and doesn't know where to go, right? And how do we access data? So on the community level, there are folks on this call today that would probably love to be able to have some data that they could use when they're writing grants or supporting businesses or nonprofit organizations in writing grants or proposals. Well, here you go. Your system is your system. It's your data that you can pull out of there. You can ask for data around what types of services or goods are really being asked for or not being requested, are being provided or not being provided in our community. Identify gaps, identify synergies, opportunities. It's your data. You use it the way that you would like to. We hear people ask all the time, how can I share things out that my business has to offer, right? I remember being at a business networking forum up in the Portland area, OWAMI, Oregon Association of Minority Entrepreneurs. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of that or been there. OWAMI, anybody? So I heard Eric Ufer with Pest Solutions said, gosh, Brent, I need employees. We just got this lighting contract in Portland. We really need workforce. And then I was at another meeting over at DHS, the local office there in District 2, And Parenting with Intent was there, and they said, gosh, we'd really love to be able to get people to work. And I said, oh, let me make a love connection. I'd love to introduce you to Eric Ufer. He's looking for workforce. You're looking to plug people in for employment opportunities. These kind of activities, no problem with the Community Resource Network. You don't have to maintain lists or tell a friend. It's right there in the system. Hey, by the way, I've got an air conditioner. Does anybody need it? Right? Or here's a service that I provide if someone's looking for that, right? So being able to just get that information out there so that we're communicating effectively and efficiently needs and opportunities, right? Available across our community systems, no matter what industry it is, right? It's building those community partnerships. I can't tell you how many times I've sat in meetings over the last almost 3 decades where people say, at the next quarterly meeting, I'm going to try to see if somebody can provide this, or gosh, I can't wait for the next community meeting to figure out who has what I'm looking for. I need to get that answer a little sooner, right? I need to call a local partner. And if they happen to know MISO, for example, who we're very fortunate to have in the house today, if they're happy or fortunate enough to know MISO and call up and say, hey, Elena, or can you help me out? Do you know anybody who can connect us with funding resources, or review our bid or proposal, or connect us with some business partners? You can literally just reach out into the system and get connected. So it's sort of transforming our experiences, right? And our environment, going from being disconnected and languishing a little bit to being connected and flourishing. In the arena that I work in health and human services, some of you will be able to relate to this, and others it will seem a bit foreign at first, right? On the left side of your screen, I'm hoping it's the left side for you too. For me, it looks like just this really dark, bleak picture, and it says adverse childhood experiences, right? Or ACEs, sometimes we refer it to. And down there at the roots, you go, oh my gosh, there's all these life experiences, right, that happened. And then as that tree is growing, it just kind of is stagnant and doesn't really seem to be too much flourishing, right? Because there were a whole bunch of dead ends that happened. But when we have systems that connect to each other and talk to each other, this is sort of that transformation, right? Over here to the flourishing tree. We call this the pair of ACEs. So now we say, hey, wait a second. We've moved into this new paradigm because we have a connected, networked community, right? To say, you know what, there are some supports that are available. We have some financial resources. We have some spiritual supports and resources, some early learning. We have business sector connected. We have health sector connected, all the things. So people are now talking to each other. They're able to ask for what they need. They're able to give what they have to offer. And you can see the result of that at the top is this beautiful blossoming tree, right? Where people are flourishing. That's true of communities. It's true of economies, not just people or children, right? It's everybody. So we can see the difference, right? We know, I'm going to talk disaster a little bit just because that's near and dear to my heart. We have all these things that happen in life, and maybe it's something as massive as a pandemic or a wildfire, or maybe it's something that we all experience, right? A loved one who's ill, a family member in need, a business that's struggling, right? Or just a minor, maybe it's a minor need, like, hey, I could sure use that pickup truck that Amy was talking about, right? That 80% that you see down here at the bottom, 80% of the time, studies show 80% of the time, those needs are met at the local level. It's word of mouth. It's how we do it, right? 15% of the time, they're focused, specialized supports. That's some case management, some extra supports that are needed beyond kind of what we have in our network, right? There are other systems in place for that. And then the 3 to 5% are those intensive needs, right? But can you imagine here's a person walking along this paradigm or a business, right? So I'm a long-term care facility and I have a workforce deficit. I need staffing, right? And there are people who want to come to work for me, but they can't afford to get their criminal history background checks so that their CNA certifications, certified nursing assistant certifications, get locked in. They don't know where to go for that. They don't know who to reach out to. They put a request in the system here, boom, need met. That's actually a real example that happened in this system, right, in Marion County. And the need is met. A business says, or it was actually a philanthropist in that situation, multiple people saying, hey, yeah, we'll pay that $65 to the licensing entity, not giving money directly to a person, but we'll answer the requester, who is another partner in the system, another business in the system. We'll answer that business's request on behalf of the person in need. And that business will facilitate the need getting met. I'll show you that picture in just a moment. But those type of needs, real time, hey, I've got that, I can help you out. When we can meet those down here, this is what we're promoting. Thriving community, thriving, resilient community. So you can see that the Community Resource Network focuses on some pretty key areas around enhancing connectivity across systems, right? Aligning resources, people, needs, solutions, right? Bringing people together across systems and sectors for supporting local capacity building, whatever that need looks like, together. And it's localized. It's not a government solution. It's your system meeting your needs in your community. So just super quick to recap, right? We're utilizing private sector innovation, leveraging some public sector resources and private sector, right? Mobilizing existing networks, not replacing them, amplifying them. So I'm probably going to call on a couple of you throughout this demonstration right here. In my screen display, you're going to see there's a person. This could be anybody from any walk of life, right? Knocks on somebody's door and says, hey, can you help me out? And that person, we've lived this 1,000 times, right? And that person says, sure, let me call so-and-so and refer you over here, right? Or here, I'll give you a number to call. And we refer them over there. And they call that person or they go to that referral source and they say, I would love to help you. I really want to help you. I don't have it though. Let me refer you over here, right? And so what the individual experiences is kind of this gap, right? That's where we end up, this languishing. I'm a little burned out. I'm tired. I'm playing referral jackpot and ending up here in a gap, right? And instead, you can see, oh, here's this person, talks to one of us who are members of the Community Resource Network or the PDX-CRN, right? And we say, oh, sure, let me reach out to my network. Boom, done, right? So we went from a network of resources that mobilizes all the potential that we all already have just in one system, using technology to boom, get that need met and out the door. So we talk about the 5 conditions that make this really work, right? How we achieve collective impact together as businesses, nonprofit organizations, government entities, faith-based continuums, right? Everybody in, nobody out, right? Government sectors, everybody at the table. We have a common understanding that we have a problem. We have a communication problem. There's so much information and we're going to link it together, link people together with a shared vision to be community. We're going to share some information that's going to generate data that you all have access to, right? We can all use our differentiated approaches, right? So we're mutually reinforcing each other's activities. And now it becomes a, hey, maybe Lynn has something that we need. Cindy can plug right into it, right? So and really supports continuous communication, building trust, right? This, we'll talk about how that works with community networking forums quarterly, seeing how's it going, what are we learning, where are we going next, right? Your backbone organization will facilitate that communication. So it's a convening platform, right? Sharing some data and communicating across sectors, producing outcomes together. So this is the process. People usually ask by now, they're like, oh my gosh, Brenda, quit talking. Just tell us how it works. So Kimberly, I'm going to use you as an example, if you don't mind. So Kimberly says, I've got a customer who needs something, right? So shout it out, Kimberly. What do they need? Anything under the sun.
Housing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. This one's going to be a little bit challenging, but I'm going to pretend that Kimberly said they need a place to sleep for the weekend because there's a heat wave coming, right? And so she says, she tells me a little bit about this person, and they happen to be, tell me 3 things about this person.
Has children.
Yeah.
Has pets.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And no transportation.
And no transportation. So Kimberly puts all those things, because she's a member in the network, right? So she's a CRN member, right? And she says, hey, I'm going to submit this request for 10 days, or I'm sorry, a weekend worth of housing before the heat wave comes for this individual who has a few children and a pet and no transportation, right? All those details are in here. Oh, Amy, I might need a lifeline, friend. So in here, Amy Church is managing this system. She's the coordinator in the backbone organization, and she receives that request and is committed to a timely response. So she's going to start pinging the people in the system, the partners in the system, public sector, private sector, for-profit, nonprofit, everybody in, right? She's going to start pinging the ones who identified in their profile that they can provide temporary or short-term housing solutions or lodging. Queue up our hotel rooms right here, right? Lodging and animal care, right? And resources for children and support for families, like all the things, right, that she identified in her request. So those folks get a notice in the system, the partners receive their notice and say, oh, I can handle this. A hotel owner or manager says, you know what, we've got a suite that'll put a family up for the weekend, right? But we can't have any pets. However, there's another provider who has a puppy daycare that says, you know what, I can totally take your pet for you for the weekend and love on them. And I'm going to FaceTime you and show you, because I see you have a cell phone through Public Utilities Commission, and you're going to be able to see your puppy anytime that you want to from 8 to 5, because those are my business hours, right? And then somebody else says, hey, you know what? We have transportation, non-emergent medical transportation, and we'll sponsor the transport for the puppy and for the family. Boom. So the originator, Kimberly, gets a notice from each one of those providers about the needs that they can meet and connects with the individual that she's serving and says, here's what's available to you, your choice, right?
Hey,
So,
Brenda, I want to just interject really quick that the backbone organization is not individually pinging the members. It's the network, the platform does the matching through an algorithm. And so you have a custom profile, and the requests, you only receive requests that match your custom profile.
Yeah.
And so once you submit the request with the criteria, it only goes to members whose profiles meet that criteria.
Thank you for clarifying that, Amy. So does that make sense to everybody? That the system sends out the notification based on your profile. Thank you so much for clarifying that. So you can see, right, that there's a whole lot of connectivity that's possible. You can talk about that when you get together at your quarterly convenings. Your community can decide to do those more often or less often. Typically right now, what happens is they're happening quarterly. It's about an hour and a half. And there's a newsletter that goes out. For the convenings, there's typically an agenda. You have focused discussion and activity. The members can send their requests for things that can be on the agenda. And Amy will be able to give some examples because she's been involved in this in 2 other communities after this presentation. So you can see that there are all kinds of benefits. I want to just say that we haven't seen all of the benefits possible because it hasn't been implemented yet in your community. So these resources exist in pockets and they can be networked. In Marion County, which was the first implementer, in Marion County, they now have a membership base of at least 250 active members from 147 different organizations. There, you can see primarily nonprofit organizations, 72 nonprofit, 27 faith-based organizations, 19 private sector. So typically you'll see that be philanthropists or some for-profit businesses in that community, and then public sector, meaning different agencies, so local government, state government entities, right? And then Marion County is actually the backbone in their community, facilitating the community resource network. In this community, it was really the focus that they had in the beginning anyway, was really looking at needs for meeting needs for children and families. So it's extremely focused in that community, right? In Eastern Oregon, which was the next implementer, their tri-county area, 3 different counties got together out there and said, we would love to be the Eastern Oregon Community Resource Network. There are 132 members from 62 different organizations, 28 nonprofit, 6 private sector, 22 public sector, and 2 quote unquote other, right? And what they saw in the evolution of the system was, we need more businesses at the table. Businesses really get things done and they get it done fast. They have things and people, right? So we need to amplify that effort. And then when folks in the Portland metropolitan area, so Washington County, Clackamas County, and Multnomah County reached out and said, we have a lot of businesses and we have a lot of resources and we have a lot of need and a lot of connecting to do. And that's where you all come in to just be able to say, tell us all the ways. Like, how would you use this system? Tell us all the ways. My mind instantly goes to, like I said, I kind of think about business to business to government, people. Somebody can go to any door and say, hey, I have a need. As long as you're a partner in this system, you upload a need. If there's a wildfire and you need to move 40 horses, you just put in the system. Anybody got trailers? I need 5 of them by 4 o'clock today, right? Who can help out? Boom, it's in your system. But I'm going to pause for a second and turn it over to all of you. What would you use this system for?
And I got to set it up with Brenda. That was amazing. Just really mind altering when you look at the potential and this use of technology to optimize potential, and especially leveraging in the for-profit, the faith communities, the nonprofits, bringing them all together to help them do their job more efficiently. And instead of getting 100 calls, they can place 1 to help do what things that they're already doing. And to your point there, again, thanks so much for sharing.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've had maybe a testimonial, and then a look at what some next steps might be, and then some Q&A after that. Are we good with that?
Oh.
Think we had a testimonial out there, right, Amy?
Well, I wanted to tell, Brenda's took one of my stories that I like to tell about the CNA license, but another story that I like to tell is about a boy in Marion County who had undergone 3 surgeries and was preparing for a 4th, and his he couldn't eat anything, and the only thing that he was able to get nutritionally was the Ensure high protein drinks, and those are very, very expensive, and the mom wasn't working. And so that was loaded up to the network, and a huge number of people.
What are some of the needs that are out there, and how might this technology be useful? Just unmic or throw it in unmute or throw it in chat. And how can this work? What can we do here?
Well, Ron, this is James Autry here with Best HQ, as well as Serving Our Neighbors. And for the last 10 years, or 20 years, we've been engaging leaders in various ways. And I'm the bottleneck because I have the most exhaustive database of churches and ministries and businesses and stuff like that. Everybody comes to me, and I'm super excited about this because I get to get out of the equation. I've been, thinking, how do I get me out of the mix? Oh, I just upload everything, get my folks engaged in this capacity, and then all that energy and that synergy and that connecting takes place through the system. It's like, wow, this is a huge game changer for us.
What a relief. You don't have to maintain all those directories.
Exactly. I've got 12,000 organizations and 17,000 people in my database. And all I can do is publish a directory online and just say, hey, go to my database. But people still don't do that. They still call me. My friend, even today, I was at a meeting. She says, you know anybody that fixes dryers? Mine still works, but it makes a racket, and I've got the gear. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know. Look at the database.
That's incredible.
CRN, James.
So what are
this
the other?
Elena from Miso.
Elena, yeah.
Sorry, this is Elena from Miso, and I think the hardest part is, I know a lot about what Miso does, and I know a lot about what certain people in the Miso network do, but I have no clue about all the other resources that are available, and that's the hard part. I would have to spend some time researching and making some phone calls, and it'd be so much easier to be able to, just send an email. So that would be great.
Yeah, Ellen, just to add to what you've said, that is one of the features in CRN, and we do a new build every quarter. So the next one, we are going to have a resource directory. You would actually, if you're looking for, as an example, if you're looking for a generator, you would be actually able to see it in Google Maps and know exactly where it is available, how many are available. You would be able to search on any different criteria, not only just an item. You could also reach out to professional services and find out if somebody needs a lawyer to work on a contract, you'll be able to find somebody. If you're looking for some help with your website or some technology help, you'll be able to find someone on CRN. And that example which James mentioned, that resource directory from James could become part of the overall CRN resource directory, where it will be a searchable database.
Amazing.
Sounds good to me.
Hey, I think I saw Lynn raising her hand.
Okay, I'm pretty excited about this tool, and I'm not a direct service provider, so I'm not one of those people who would probably be able to say I've got generators or I've got housing or I've got dog homes. But what I am is a person who manages a number of networks, and I kind of got caught on your words of saying that this doesn't replace existing networks, but it enhances and leverages existing networks. And I would assume that the success of CRN would be how many members you have, and finding all of those people out there. I mean, right now great to have 29 people. Some of them are you, but You know, I've got, I know the county has a long-term recovery group dealing with disaster management. I manage Estacada Connect and Sandy Connect, which has got over 200 people per group, focusing on agencies that work in the rural area. There's a North Clackamas Connect that I facilitate, and then the Homeless Solutions Coalition has about 400 people. Now, the fact is they all need to know about this, because this doesn't replace them, but this becomes a tool that would make those systems work better. So I guess what I'm wondering is, how do we make that happen?
Well, you tell us how to make it happen, because you know about them. Invite your friends. Tell them the 29th is the next forum. Send them this way. Send them to PDX-CRN.org to learn more. But it's everybody in. Just tell a friend, everybody in.
Indeed, Lynn, thank you so much for that observation and comment. And actually, it's a perfect segue. We have about 15 minutes left in our time together. We will have more Q&A, and we definitely want to hear more. Yet, I think it's a great time to open it back to Amy and talk about what some next steps might be. What can the community look forward to? As Brenda mentioned, there will be another one of these forums, and we would really appreciate you pushing this invite to others that you think might resonate in this kind of thinking. So it's 1 week from today. It's actually the same Zoom. They can come in, or you can come back and meet some other folks. But Amy, what is the future of PDX-CRN look like, and how can we all make it happen?
Thanks, Ron. So the next steps are, once we've completed our session next week, we'll be sending out a follow-up email to everyone. But if you are interested in being on the steering committee, we're still standing up the steering committee. We have membership available for all 3 counties. It'll be a balanced steering committee. And if you're interested, sign up at pdxcrn.org on the info sheet. And there's an an interest form. And if you fill out that interest form and indicate that you're interested in being on the steering committee, that would be great. And then once we have some folks gathered for the steering committee, we'll have our first steering committee meeting about the middle of August. And then we'll work out the timeline from there as to when we'll implement.
So that's just around the corner, and it seems like it's driven by the people who fill out the interest forms and say, yeah, this is a good thing, right?
That's exactly right. So we need you to help make this happen.
Excellent, excellent. So do we have any other questions? And really, we genuinely want to hear. There's a lot of names and no video, so we love seeing your beautiful faces. Anybody want to either raise their hand, throw something in chat, or questions about how this might work or might not work?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I guess I'm wondering, so when we do do we all need to get our own membership in order to use this forum? And is there a link that we're going to be provided with to do that? And then also I have another question as far as once you guys start rolling out, you said, Brenda said that there will be a forum so they can see how everything's working and whatnot. Will we be invited to that as well, so we can hear about stories in case we haven't had a chance to use it yet?
Yes, absolutely. To all of your questions, Lou. We definitely want, so each organizational will sign up, but any number of employees for that organization can become members. And so we would definitely want you and your colleagues to become members of the network so that they can submit their own requests. We want to avoid having a bottleneck where only one person can submit requests. And yes, we will invite everyone to the quarterly meeting, or at least representatives from each organization to the quarterly meetings. And there will also be a quarterly or a monthly newsletter that goes out talking about with some data and a community partner spotlight and some other information that might be beneficial.
So
And then
let's hear from Elisa, and then we have a number of questions in chat. We're going to try to get through those as well. Elisa.
yeah, I was just wondering how much information is the data system requiring of the individual?
So, but your basic information is going to be your contact information, your name, your contact information, your name, your contact information, and your organization, information about your organization when you apply to become a member of the network. When you submit a ticket, submit a request to the network, you don't include any information about your client. So we don't want any personally identifying information or personal health information included in those requests. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Perfect. And then Lynn had a great question in here that I was just looking at. Who is funding this?
It's a great question. We will be, once we have established a backbone organization, we will work with them to help find some funding through grants and other methods.
Just to add to what Amy said, when we launched EOCRN, we were able to work with the backbone agency, and we were able to get funding for them for, I think, the initial launch, and then even to continue to support it in the future.
Yes.
There are more questions in the chat. Just want to make sure that we're seeing those. I saw Chris said there, Chris Jansen. So you can unmute yourself if you'd like to, but Chris said there's such a need for this platform and it's hard to believe we haven't had it already. Exciting potential. Someone else had a question in here. Sorry,
You want me to answer the questions, Brenda?
Yeah, just I can't see all of them. I just wondered if somebody
That's
could
okay.
address those.
So the first question that I saw in here that we haven't answered yet was how it was scaled in Marion County and how many requests are posted and filled each month. Wasi, do you have an idea about that? We can get back to you with that data. We don't have.
Sorry, Amy, I was on mute.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry, I was just looking at that other question about whether it is an app or a website. So I was replying to that. What was the question? Sorry.
How is how is it scaled in Marion County? How many requests are posted and filled each month?
I would say approximately the total number of requests we have seen for Marion County since 2016 is close to 1,000. And so it's about a 5 year. So you're looking at around 200 requests a year. So it's probably 20, 25 requests a month. And what you need to remember for Marion County is because they are limiting the scope of this platform only to children and families, a lot of requests are not distributed to the CRN members because they were focused only on children and families. Whereas if you look at Eastern Oregon is helping out any community member, whether it's an individual or a family, and their scope is much, much larger. So just because they were just focused, Marion County was focused only on children and families, this is just a small number of requests which can potentially have been met.
Yeah, this is a really good segue. Lynn had asked in the chat, does the network focus only on families with children, or is the focus broader? This PDX-CRN for PDX area, the request was everybody in. So businesses who have a need, seniors who have a need, this is everybody. So the scope is not limited to health and human services or children and families, it's everybody. And we see all kinds of requests come in. We see like, does anybody have an air conditioner? In Eastern Oregon, I saw a request the other day for art supplies that was met just like that. So it's for everybody.
And truly, that's where I see the extraordinary potential and really life-changing impact when you look at businesses, engaging businesses in this, not only the maybe some of the underrepresented or areas of business ownership that can use some of the extra resources that are supported in community, but also some of the larger organizations, the big companies that might have 3,000 air conditioners in a warehouse somewhere that they're more than willing able to put out on the street in the event of a heat wave, right? So if you think about, if we can look beyond what we know traditional support service or traditional channels and leverage the technology and meet these unmet needs, it's truly life-changing and extraordinary to think that here in Portland metro area, we're going to be aggregating at effectively a no-cost system that allows us all to do more and make a difference together.
Ron, back in October during COVID stuff, we had 6,000 food kits delivered by Cisco to 2 food banks in North Portland, C3 and then my church, Crossroads. And we were scrambling. How do we get rid of all these? People were lined up down the street for miles, and at the same time we were calling other partners. How do we get these? Because it had milk in it, cheese, eggs, and it was delivered, dumped, and then we had to get it out quickly. And it was a miracle that we got it done, but wow, that would have been an incredible way to utilize this network.
Indeed. Hey, a quick time check. We've got just a couple minutes left before the top of the hour. Amy, Wasi, Brenda, some final
I'm
thoughts?
reading the chat and I see some really good questions that I want to make sure are answered before we leave today. Multiple people have asked, is this tri-county or one in each county? And I think Amy had mentioned it, and I want to just kind of echo, this is a PDX system. So it's tri-county system, one steering committee, one system. You can have subcommittees or advisory boards in each community if you would like to do that, but it's one system. And it's already developed. It's plug and play. It's already developed. There just has to be enough membership for it to be useful to anybody. So it does no good if like all of my agencies, ODHS and OHA, are on board, and 3 other providers, but no businesses there. Like we're not going to get any, we're not networking that way, right? So we need lots of momentum around people becoming members, and any member can submit a request or answer a need.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Brenda. Thank you so much for your time and energy and passion. Amy or Wasi, any final words on topic?
I just have one quick, sorry, go ahead, Amy.
No, you go ahead, Wasi.
I just want to mention, because we just talked about how it will be implemented. So we have, like Brenda mentioned, it can be configured in any fashion which works best for our PDX. So in Marion County, it was hosted only for a county, but in Eastern Oregon, we brought 3 counties together. So as Brenda mentioned, the application is ready. It is up to us as we continue further and decide what makes the most sense. We will decide how we are going to implement it. But the application is ready.
Outstanding.
Lynn brought up a really good point. She said there are a lot of like nonprofits, for example, and especially around the rural areas that don't relate to the term PDX. And I remember people talking during the design phase that some folks might be put off by PDX or Metro kind of language. And she asked, could the name be changed to something more inclusive? Absolutely. It's your system. Your steering committee can develop the name and rebrand that or change the name and keep your logo. It's your system. You decide. So if you're interested in being part of the steering committee, sign up. If you're interested in being a backbone organization, sign up. If you have questions, fill out that form. We'll be looking for interest.
Indeed. And Amy, any final words, next steps? Where do we go from here?
The next steps, just sign up if you want to be, again, on the steering committee or backbone organization. And you can always email us at info@pdxcrn.org.
Indeed. We will have another one of these community forums. And if anything that was said today resonated with you and thinking, hey, there might be something here, maybe something that 3 friends of yours, your network might want to be part of, please share the information that's been in chat, share the fact that we're going to do another one of these forums and probably a much larger audience, actually it's the Tri-Counties forum 1 week from today at this very same Zoom address. And we'll let you sneak in and just send the Zoom, best if you can get them to register via the Eventbrite, but sneak in, learn about what this is going. As Amy mentioned, the steering committee will be stood up. We'll be sending a newsletter as a follow-up to today's meeting, giving you more information, more links. And we can do this. We can. It's tragic that our community over the last year has seen some very, very sad things happen, that we had the resources to meet, but they weren't there. And literally lives are lost, hardship, pain, suffering, that had we leveraged this technology could have been alleviated. So thank you very much. Thank you to the entire panel, everyone, for your time. We look forward to making a difference together, and have a wonderful rest of the afternoon.